vice versa. Okay? So, I use this piece a lot when I teach my students at Baylor. When they come in as freshmen, a lot of times I'll teach them this piece. The reason is because there are so many things about this piece that help us understand Debussy. Have you ever played a piece by Debussy before? There's so many things about this piece that teach a good way to think about piano technique in a way that the music can tell you the best way to play something technically by following what the score says. Okay? And you may remember this morning I was talking a little bit about knowing where a phrase is. Okay. In this piece, that's going to become really, really important that you know where a phrase is. And the reason is because, well, you know, a composer tells you how he did it. And I use the example of painting all the time, where he dips his brush and he goes, whoosh, and of course when he first touches the canvas, the brush is thicker with paint and then it may wisp away, right? But the thing that's important to know is where are those places where he dips his brush back in the paint. What a pianist will often do is he'll just treat all the notes the same, so they're playing all these notes, and they're not paying attention to all that other stuff. Some teachers, not here, but at other places I've seen them come to Baylor, they'll say, well, my teacher said get the notes and put all that other stuff in later. And that's just musical suicide. You're not going to get any better if you think that way. Okay? What the phrase will do is it will tell you where the sentence ends, and when you talk at the end of a sentence, what do? You breathe. Okay? And so that allows you to release your hand and put your hand in another position. And often a phrase will be within one position because that's the easiest way to approach it, the way the composer did. Okay? And it can help the music find its voice and can help you with the style. And here's the example I'll show you. This piece has a little introduction, right? Okay, after the introduction, you get this melody. That's the sentence. He just goes. And it just kind of whisks away. That's the end of it. The paint is run out on the brush. Now he's got to come over here and add this brush again, okay? What's the next sentence? It's there's something different. What was different about that sentence than the one before it? Notice anything? Is this exactly the same? So the first one goes, right? He goes over and puts his brush in the paint. It's one note shorter. It's one note shorter than the one, right? So he dips his brush in the paint and he comes over and it's just a little bit shorter, one note exactly shorter. Okay? Look at the next one. That's it, right? Is it shorter than the one before? A little bit, right? A little bit shorter. Okay. Now, what will happen to a student is if they don't breathe, they'll find themselves in the middle of a phrase in an awkward hand position because they tried to finger across the slurs, right? And you look here, and you may remember when you played this, it's all an A major hand position, right? The question people have, well, then how do I get up to the G sharp? Did you find that difficult? Like when you show me what you do when you get here. It's the right hand. So you had to do, you started on different fingers than I would, first of all, and you had to do a finger transfer where your hand contracted so you could get up there. And the reason you did that is because you think this belongs to this. But you see how the slur ends? Okay? So, all one hand position. Now I'm free to do anything I want to. In fact, I should. Go back over and dip my brush. Just a two-note slur. Now I'd put 4-2 there because it's nice and balanced. You see? So why? You see? I didn't have to crawl up there. Okay. So we have this long phrase. We have this phrase that's one note shorter, then we have a shorter one, and he interrupts it with this little two-note slur. And to show us that's what he means, the next phrase is exactly exactly like the one he left off, you see? So, he interrupts it here, right? And now the next one is exactly the same length as that one was. It's where he left off, okay? Now watch this one. Same, right? Now what? How is this one different than this one? Shorter? A little bit shorter, okay. Okay, what about the next one? It's one note shorter, isn't it? Okay. And then look at what happens. Then you have two-note slur, two-note slur, two-note slur. So now there's down to 2 notes, isn't it? So now we got 2 note, 2 note, 2 note. And what happens at the very end? Every single note is its own thing. You see? So if you look at that, what's happening is the phrases are getting faster, like a ball that bounces forward, right? Until finally, what they call liquidate. Okay. Now, this can be very, very helpful because if you show that, it's as beautiful to watch as it is to hear it. If you can show that with the way you approach it physically, it's a beautiful thing to see. And it makes it easier to play for all the reasons I was talking about. Particularly in this place where everybody tries to crawl across the slur. A major hand position. And then you can start on anything you want to, you see. So I'll show you what I do now. You may, I don't know how long you've had this and how long you're going to want to have this, but you may not have time to go back and rework it, but if you're going to keep working on this, I would suggest that you look at it this way. This you start on 2, because this is all A major. It's just a big A major hand position, right? This you breathe and you play it with 4-2. Okay? Here you go 3, 2. You end up with your thumbs like they wanted you to. 3, 2, 3, 1, sorry, 3, 2, 3, 1. And that's what's just like you had your thumb there, right? 3. Here I'd go 4-2 again. You can't go 5, but see this editor was treating this like that belongs to this. Do you see what I mean? He put a 1 on that, and then he made you put your 5 up here. You can do anything you want now. And so I use a fingering that forces me to breathe. So rather than try to connect this, I put 4 here so that I can have a nice balanced 4-2. That's real symmetrical, see? Then I go back to 3-2 on all these. 3 2s. Okay? Now you're not going to be able to fix that today, but I wanted to make a case of why I feel that that's the most logical approach to it, okay? Okay. Now, will you play me just this in the right hand? Your thumb is real busy because you're changing positions all the time. If there's a way we could block this out so we wouldn't have to think about so many positions, it would be so much easier for you. Okay? For example, this one hand position, do you see that? Can you start on the 4? I just go, and just block that now. That's your first hand position as you play this. Do that for me. See how you just kind of stay in one place? Okay? I'm going to bracket those. And that's my first hand position. Now this one is my second hand position. So it's exactly the same position, I just shifted. So now I want you to block this. Stood here, right? So now block the first one. And now block the second one. Sit there, you feel 2 hand position. So you see 2 things go by, but the audience hears like 8 things go by because they hear all these notes, right? First hand position, second hand position, okay? And this one I'd go 4 on the G sharp, because this is my second one. 4, 1. Once you get to that 4, you have thinking is this. That whole long, complicated tongue twister is this, and this. 3 hand positions. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you're going thumb, 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 thumb. And that's hard to do because your hand's always opening and closing. Instead of thinking in those block hand positions, you see. Okay? So again, you're not going to be able to fix that in a day. But I think if you start thinking that way, you find out, oh, I have a lot more technique than I thought. That's what the pros are doing, you see. And that's when you hear them, you go, what are they doing different than me? I'm showing you. They're thinking in groups, you see. And you're following slurs to tell them when I can breathe and when I can release, instead of trying to play everything as it goes, you see. Okay? All right, can I hear you start at the beginning? Almost as 4-part writing, and you probably don't know what I mean by that, because you probably haven't done any 4-part writing, have you? You had any theory classes where you had to do what's called 4-part writing? It goes sopranos, altos, tenors, basses. Ever sung in a choir? Ever heard a choir sing? Say the sopranos, the high woman, and the altos, the lower woman, and the tenors, or the high man. Okay? And a lot of Debussy's 4-part writing is beautiful. There's 4 parts. And I know that because if I look at the stems, you see how these stems go up? You see how this stem goes down? And then you have the middle one. So somebody's going, and do you see the slur start here and stop there? So one idea is going to go, right? Someone's going to be going to it. Someone's going to be going, and someone's going to be going. See the 4 parts? And the stems, if you look real carefully, are telling me up, down, up, down. Okay, so let's just look at just a soprano. Okay, if all you had was that top voice and it had to go, how might you finger that? 1, 4, 2, 5. What could you go 3, 5? Could you rock back and forth 3, 5? Try that. Yeah, and now that's going to sing nice and legato like it's supposed to. Now look what happens if I add the other part. These are soft. Try that. See how you were able to connect this? A minute ago, you put a finger here where like it was 5, and you had to break that. But if you can start, so look at what I have here. It's just that hand position, you see? Can you put your hand in there? So now. That's right, it's all under one finger now, see? So I would put my 3rd finger here so that I could make my sopranos connect. All right? And it makes it possible for me to reach all those lower ones I'm going to need. Do you see that? Breathe. See the breath? Try it. Make up and down. You're breaking the F sharp to the C sharp. That's more like it. You release the lower ones, so you can come back and get them. That's good. And see how that just feels like one natural motion? I didn't have to move, I didn't have to jump or extend or anything. I just put my hand there and went. Try it. Perfect. Now can you keep these softer so that... This one's going to be, I have to move here, 3, 5, 5, but I don't want to move any more than I have to, so I'm going to start on 3, and then I can go 5, 5. That's right. How many hand positions was that? Yeah, how many did you do? When you did it? You started on 5, 5, 5, 5, so you had 3 hand positions, I only had 2. See the secret? These really, really good pianists don't move any more than they have to. Okay? Okay. And again, that'll take a little while. Left hand, can you start left hand long? I go 3, 4, 5, so that I can have 3, becomes 4, becomes 5. See, it's also, look. I don't have to go 5, 5, 5. I'm going to stay like this. So do this, block this for me. 3, and look at this now, 4, and now. See how it all kind of fits? And only at the last one do I have to move, see? So I get a line. And my bass is going stepwise, you see? And I'm playing it like that, as if the basses were, all I had was this. And I'm using a fingering that reflects that, you see? Try that one more time. I bet you if you practice that way, you'll like it a lot better in the long run, okay? Okay. And then this, you understand what I mean now on these thickening groups, right? Okay. Let me hear left hand alone. Okay. I don't like to put my thumb on this one. Because I don't want the thumb. And I want to keep my thumb under, kind of grounded. See how it's going to be my pivot? If I put him out here, I don't have a pivot anymore. See, this way I'm using weaker fingers. Since this is the downbeat and this is soft, I don't want to go 3-2 here. So I wouldn't thump that guy. And I can use this thumb, this guy here, he's kind of my pivot. You see that? And so everything's like this. So why don't you do this for me? Hold down the E. Now block it. And I'll keep that. And I'll cross over with 3 and 2. Like this. Now how do I know? Because look at the slur. It starts there and ends there. He's telling me this is how I did it. I put my brush in here and I did it and I stopped there. So this is all one thing. And then I can do whatever I want after that. Now this one, your little hand, you putting your thumb up there. Again, if you could use 4-2, it'd be better. Can you do it? Does that feel easy or hard? I like it because it keeps me physically in touch with that E, you see? I don't have to bring my thumb up and end up having to twist a lot. See, I'm not as busy. So again, if you can do that, it's a lot better. So here it's 4-2, and here it's 3-2. Yeah, and you look a lot more in control of the keys now because you're not moving as much. Being what they call efficient with the way you move, right? Okay, good. So, to summarize the first page, I would practice the right hand alone by slurs. The first one, I would look for those 3 groups to see if I could learn how to feel. I'd practice. So I understood that one. And the next one. And the next one is. So you're going to think of the 1, 2, 3. That's right. Okay? Then I would go through here and I would look carefully. Don't be afraid. You don't have to make it short, just graceful. Breathe. Graceful new brush stroke. See that 2 is so beautiful. And then you can come down with 3. Then 3. That's right. Breathe. 3. Breathe. Yeah. You don't want this to connect. That's right. If you look at impressionistic painting, the way it works is they'll put a splotch of color and then right next to it they'll put another splotch of color. Just butt it up against. They don't blend it. Because the eye does it, right? And the impressionistic aesthetic on music is the same. If you start trying to connect everything, you'll lose that impressionistic style. And most people don't do that the right way. Even a lot of famous pianists, they don't even pay attention to this. But when you hear one that does it, you go, oh, okay, I see. Yeah? Okay. This is the same, he just adds this soprano melody that I can go 5, 4, 3, all the way to that note, and then I have to do a little fancy dazzle here. You see how he goes 4, 5, 4, 5? So the more I can connect with my fingers, the better. I go 5, 4, 3, and then on 3 I transfer to 5, only once. See, I end up on 3 here. They have to connect. The A has to become G sharp, and it has to become F sharp, and then I shift. Don't shift yet. 4, 3, now 3 connects to 5. Now I'm in a new hand position, you see. But instead of having to change 3 times, I only have to do it once. See that? Don't change yet. 5, 4, 3, 5. 4, 3. That's good. Now just make sure they connected. You got it. 5 becomes 4. Keep the 4 singing. You want this singing all the way, because your sopranos are going to go la, la. They're going to connect. They're not going to go la, la. You see?